Want to start production without the letter of credit? TL. Doctor at bottom. This story goes back to the mid-1990s when I was working for a company that made small metering pumps used in the manufacture of many products. The biggest market was in the spinning of synthetic fiber, an industry that literally touches all of us, except nudists and cotton-only folks, every day. In broad terms, the fiber material starts out as a liquid solution, rayon, viscose fiber, acrylics, or a molten polymer, polyester, nylon, polypropylene, etc. The pumps push the fluid through a spinneret at a very precise flow rate, creating the filament that's made into the fiber. At that time, an average plant would have 75 of the pumps in service. A really big plant would have as many as 1,100. One plant that made cigarette filter material had a couple of thousand running at any given time. I was working in the international group when I got a fax. Mid-90s. Remember? From our commissioned agent Joseph in India. He wanted me to call him at home to discuss something. He had a customer that was willing to buy 340 pumps for a fiber plant. Joe asked if we could increase his commission from 10% to 15%. It seemed that the end user's purchasing guy wanted to set up his retirement fund. Corporate policy permitted such things if it was local custom and if it was signed off by the GM. It was customary, and it was approved. In short order, a $640,000 order rolled in. I'm a hero as it's the biggest order of the year. But the order has the caveat from Joe to not start production until the letter of credit was in hand. This was about 30 weeks before the end of the fiscal year. The pumps had a lead time of 16 weeks. So 14 weeks to get the LC. Piece of cake. Manufacturing and the GM were of course eager to get things going. Shipping the pumps in the current fiscal year would make a pretty good impact on the shipping dollars and would probably be enough to get the GM into bonus territory. So predictably, the GM is pushing the manufacturing folks to get started. The manufacturing folks were on us like hobos on ham sandwiches looking for permission to start manufacturing. First it was weekly. Then about 10 weeks out from the drop-dead start date it went to twice a week, then to daily. We refused to release the order because no LC was in hand. I was chasing Joe a couple of times a week for the LC. He kept getting reassurances that it was coming. On a trip to India, I went with Joe to the customer to see when we could expect the LC. It is coming. Well, okay. So a week before the drop-dead date, no LC. I was in my sales manager Tim's office when the head of manufacturing comes waltzing in looking for the release. Tim looked at him and said, "Our agent says don't start without an LC. We want to trust him. But make them if you want." Production started the next day. These pumps were mostly standard. Mostly. You see, the pumping bits were mounted on a casting that extended down to a foot that fit between two trunnions. The assembly would be pinched between the trunnions and pivoted over onto a gear on a line shaft. The pump had a gear on its drive shaft. It meshed with the line shaft gear and the pump turned. If this seems weird, it is the finest 1928 technology that allows a failed pump to be isolated and hot swapped. See this picture for some clarity on the weirdness. The standard angle on that trunnion was 90 degrees. But not these pumps. These were 105 degrees for some reason. So 340 pumps were made with non-standard ports, and if the LC never came, manufacturing is stuck with 340 oddball pumps. And the LC never came. Year-end hits and the pumps are finished goods in inventory at $640,000. The real problems start when the GM ends up catching hell from the corporate offices in Illinois about the excessive inventory. Shit slides downhill, so sales, marketing catches hell too. Joe found out later that the purchasing guy didn't have the authority to buy $500,000 in pumps. He was just trying to line his pockets. Shocking, right? Where's the malicious compliance? You want us to release the order. We'll release the order. Don't blame us if it goes sideways. Addendum. 4 months later I managed to find another company in another country to buy the pumps, complete with the weird 105-degree trunnion mount. Did I get any credit for that? Of course not. I left the company shortly thereafter, being on the outs with my boss for other reasons, and on the outs with manufacturing for letting them make those damn pumps. TL. Dr. Big Order is secured with the proviso to not start manufacturing without the LC to pay for it. Management gets greedy, jumps the gun, makes the pumps, can't ship them, catches hell for inventory and almost eats the order. So, to be clear, company policy was that bribes are okay? Your brief description in the first paragraph of how these fibers are produced brought back memories from a lifetime ago. I used to work at North American Rayon Corporation ages ago. It's been closed almost 30 years. The production process was very interesting, but it has to be the worst environment I have ever worked in. The working conditions were very unsafe. One thing I always found interesting was that we also produced carbonized rayon, which was used on the space shuttle. I feel like that entire craziness could have been avoided by some old-fashioned bureaucracy. Put an expiry date on the deal. Only 15% if letter of credit has been received by November 1st. Under the house guise of changing market prices. And you'll have certainty of what the end-of-year situation will be like. If the unreliable pension fund sales guy cannot get it all wrapped up before the date, he'll be even less motivated to get it done after the date when the commission will have dropped. Good contracts make your problems their problems. Edit. Fixed an autocorrect issue. You bailed them out and got nothing? Reason enough to leave. Leaving stupid people behind is its own reward. This type of thing is a huge no-no in many businesses. I've seen people fired for placing professional services people on a customer site without a signed purchase order from the customer. It's seen as a big commercial risk. Easy guess on the Renegade Company.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Aircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.